Hello, this is DrSayus and welcome to my review of Sonic and the Secret Rings on the Wii. When you turn on Sonic and the Secret Rings, the first thing you'll see is a very pretty cutscene. This does hype up the game a lot and the music is brilliant as well. This is the best looking cutscene out of any game I've ever seen on the Wii. It looks to me like it was at least 1080p and they compressed it down to 480p. It looks Pixar quality and I don't say that lightly. There's only 2 cutscenes like this in the whole game. The rest of it is made up of interactive storyboards, so it'll show like moving pictures of the characters. And it does feel a little cheap, I'm not gonna lie. It's presented in an old storybook theme, and for some reason the Wiimote vibrates at random points during these cutscenes.
Now please, place the ring on your finger.
Like this? Ouch! Hey, take it easy.
My apologies, O Master, but now the contract has been sealed. Now, rub the ring.
Like this?
Oh, Master of the Ring, what is thy wish?
How about a handkerchief for starters? Make that a few.
Sonic, the legendary hedgehog.
At the end of the day, you don't play a game for the cutscenes, but it would have been nice to see a bit more effort go into this. Whenever you start the game, you will have to do a series of tutorials. The first one is move Sonic to one side of the stage to the other. They want to accustom you to controlling Sonic, and the reason they want you to do this is because you are holding the Wiimote sideways like a steering wheel. Sonic will run on his own, so you don't need to press anything, and you tilt left and right to steer him, and if you want him to stop, you press the 1 button. If you want him to jump, you press the 2 button. Flick the Wiimote when jumping to do a homing attack, and if you want him to go backwards, you tilt the Wiimote backwards. For an early Wii game, it controls most of the time decently well in the early levels. When it gets to the later levels, they require more precise platforming, which can become quite frustrating because motion controls are not 100% accurate. There's only 7 stages in this game, which is not a lot, and they are very well designed stages. I really did like the aesthetic that they had. Like, they had a very good looking beach area, they had a pirate area, they had a dinosaur area. They all look quite nice. Unfortunately, once you run through them, you have to do like a load of other missions on those stages before you can unlock another stage. And the problem is, when you do those missions, they don't really change the level design. Like, they'll literally copy and paste obstacles. Like, say you do a mission where you collect 100 rings, it'll be the exact same track as last time. There'll be no difference at all, except maybe they'll take out spiky iron balls in one part of the stage and put in a few enemies instead, and that'll literally be it. And then the next level, they'll take out enemies out of one area and put in like a different set of enemies. It felt a bit lazy in that regard, to be honest. It made the game feel repetitive. One thing I know a lot of people criticize this game is it plays the same song in the menu, 7 rings in hand. I'm not gonna lie, it does get irritating, as well as when you complete a stage to hear the constant sound effect of unlocking everything, like each mission. I don't know why they couldn't have just done that with one effect, like say you unlocked 3 missions instead of doing it for every mission. But at least it's good music. I really like Crush 40's rock music, even though I can see people not liking that type of music. I should explain the story. The story begins, Sonic is sleeping on a random couch, then he gets woken up by Shara, who is a genie of the ring. She warns Sonic that a Razor Jinn is trying to destroy the Arabian Nights stories and he wants to overtake Sonic's world. So then she sucks Sonic into the book and Sonic becomes her master. Sonic is Jason Griffith. He was very cocky and jokey. I liked him in this game. Shara was voiced by Erica Schrodner. She has a very sweet voice. She's pretty good too. And then you have a Razor Jinn who was voiced by Peter Cormacan. He was very serious and brooding. They run into Razor Jinn right away and he places a curse on Sonic. Sonic has to
gather the 7 world rings for me. Have you not, Shara, my dear?
So pretty much they're the 7 Chaos Emeralds of that world. It's a bit bizarre because he constantly tries to stop you from progressing, and even some of the bosses that he sends to fight you have a world ring. It's a bit counterintuitive. The level environments look really good in this game. I think this is actually the best looking Sonic game on the Wii. Call me crazy, but I just really like it sort of has the pseudo-realistic different themes. It's not your typical Sonic or Mario themes like, oh, here's the desert world, here's the fire world. They fit the Arabian Nights theme and they all look pretty detailed. I think the problem is that they put so much detail into these 7 levels that you're repeating these 7 levels over and over again. For the most part, Sonic controls well. It's only really the back step that can sometimes be a bit jarring. He goes very slow. He can unlock an ability where he will jump back, but it's not the best. This is particularly annoying if you just miss, say, a red coin. You have to slowly jump back in order to attempt to get it, and sometimes the game won't let you. There'll be an invisible wall that will stop you, and you may have to do another lap around the whole course just to get it again. And the thing that's really annoying about this is the game's programmed so when you reach a certain part of the map, the characters will say their line. But there was a level that, in particular, that was mandatory in the game where I kept hearing them saying the same line over and over again. Not quite as bad as, say, what Sonic Boom would do. With that said, the game was very ambitious for the time. Sonic and the Secret Rings, for me, it's not a typical Sonic game. For me, it's more of a side game. It's an experience. You control Sonic kind of like you control a car on rails. So as a one and done game, it's fine. Obviously, I wouldn't want any sequel to Sonic and the Secret Rings. Some YouTubers like to say this game's worse than Sonic 06 and Sonic Boom. They argue that in those games you can control Sonic with the joystick better than what you can with motion controls. And while that is true, at least I felt compelled to complete Sonic and the Secret Rings. I couldn't for the life of me go on in Sonic Boom. Halfway through, I just was so bored. It was just so tedious button mashing the one button over and over again. And Sonic 06, the loading times just felt too much of a chore to me. It was more loading times than game. Not to mention the constant amount of glitches in that game. Sonic and the Secret Rings, for all its problems, I didn't discover a single glitch in the game. And even though you are repeating the same level over and over, it never really gets monotonous. So it can be frustrating, but I will take that over sheer boredom that those other games give me. Sonic has 2 powers that you unlock after about a few hours playing the main story. You get Time Stop and Speed Break. Speed Break, if you've played Shadow the Hedgehog, he has a similar ability where you will speed through part of the stage super fast. It can be useful sometimes, but in Sonic and the Secret Rings, especially in the later stages, you have to be very careful with your platforming, so you don't really get much chance to use it. And Time Stop, this I barely used at all. I think I used it about twice just to slow time down so I could avoid an obstacle, but you could take both of these powers out and it wouldn't really affect my experience of the game. In fact, there was even a stage, it's the last stage, the palace one. The level itself is a light blue color, so when I used Time Stop, it was a bright white flashing light. It was so blinding, I couldn't even make out Sonic. I could only see the white light, so it was literally useless in that level. I found this game to be fun in small bursts, about 45 minutes. Any longer and I felt my concentration waning, particularly because when you're doing a stage, you need to play the same stage a bit with different missions over and over until you unlock another stage. After I'd done that for a while, I got a bit tired of it and I stopped playing until the next day, but I did look forward to playing it. Also, the thing that tires you out is the fact the music that plays over and over again in the menu, and also when you finish a stage, the sound effects you hear over and over get irritating too. There's no arguing that the motion controls of this game just aren't as responsive as a control stick, but I would argue that this game is designed for motion controls because it's that linear that if you used, say, a control stick, it would take some of the fun out of it, which if you play Sonic and the Black Knight, you'll understand that. That's why the reviews of that game were lower, I think. There is some segments of the on-rails that annoy me. There's one stage, I think it's called Sky Sanctuary. You're chasing after this statue. It's this colored road in the air. You literally don't do anything, you just watch it for about a good 5 minutes. Even if you use a speed power-up, once that drains, you're just sitting there waiting for the segment to finish. Pure automation, watch Sonic run for 5 minutes. The 2D sections I found very difficult to control. The 3D sections are one thing. When you get to the 2D sections, you're tilting the Wiimote left and right, and these 2D sections, you need to be more precise with your control. It's not easy to do tilting left and right, so these sections in particular took me longer to do than the rest of the game. You unlock multiplayer games by completing through the story. Unfortunately, I don't have anyone who wants to play this game with me. Whenever I got this game 12 years ago, I would make my friends play this all the time, and we actually did have a lot of fun playing the games. I know a lot of people say the mini games are crap. I think they're pretty harmless. They didn't have to add a multiplayer mode, but they did. They're fun to have if you have free friends and you want to mess about. It's what you would expect using motion controls during different games, like who can pull the most mats away, and I enjoyed them. The later levels and bosses in this game suddenly rank up in difficulty. I noticed this particularly when I got to the fiery Ifrit. It took me about half an hour to figure out how to defeat him. The platforms, he would suddenly submerge them under lava and I would get killed by it constantly, and then I realized, oh, if I avoid the graters I won't get submerged in lava. But he was a really hard boss, and then I got to a Razor Jin, his first fight. I had to really time my jumps perfectly. I don't know how anyone can do that boss without time stop. It's the only useful time I have noticed to use time stop. Whenever he charges at you, you use time stop and you jump, and you have to wait exactly when you see the reticle and then shake the Wiimote and hope the Wiimote registers it in time. It took me ages to beat him, but it was satisfying. I would say that's probably the hardest boss in the game. Then you have to fight him at the end when he turns into some mutated creature and calls himself a different name. Sonic transforms into what people say is a DeviantArt character, and he has the Warhog voice before the Warhog was relevant. Yeah, that's essentially Super Sonic in this game. He seals a Razor Jin in the lamp. Shara starts crying her eyes out because her lover has been sealed away forever, and Sonic returns to his world. Well, he has a few adventures with his lookalike friends who don't really appear in the game very much, like Alibaba as Tails, Sinbad as Knuckles, and Eggman as some king, but they literally have one or two cutscenes each and that's it. They really were shoehorned in, but at the same time they don't do any harm to the game. What would I give the game? I think the game's a solid experience. For a game in 2007 on the Wii, I've definitely played a lot worse. People argue it's not a traditional Sonic game. For me personally, I don't care if a game's traditional or not. If I find a game fun, that's good enough for me. So I think this game deserves a solid B. I did feel compelled to play it from start to finish. I did think the controls were a novel idea, even if they aren't 100% accurate. It's on rails driving Sonic like a car. This is also a really good looking Sonic game on the Wii. I think this is actually the best looking Sonic game on the Wii, both gameplay and especially cutscenes. His facial model looks a little low res, but you don't see it that much, so it's no problem. I thought for the most part the gameplay held up, it was solid. The mini games are fun too, so if you love motion controls, check this game out. If you're not completely in love with motion controls, skip it. And it's better than Sonic Boom and Sonic 06. Jesus Christ, guys. If you think otherwise, you're not playing the game right. Hello guys, hope you're having a fantastic day. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and to subscribe for more videos. Bye!